economic gains, immigration enforcement, and expanding global leverage, including sealing a new trade agreement with Argentina and a major trade deal with India. The U.S. agreed to cut tariffs to 18%, down from 25%, after India stops buying Russian oil. Here's the president this week.
This is the wealthiest our country has ever been. We have hundreds of billions of dollars a year pouring in, and we're taking advantage of it.
But while the White House is celebrating big wins for the American people, Democrats on Capitol Hill refuse to listen, instead clashing with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent during contentious hearings, blaming the administration for affordability issues that Bessent said began during the Biden era.
Work for the American people. Don't be a cover-up for a mob.
Reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my time. Can you shut up?
Housing? Can you maintain some level of dignity?
I guess you're saying that I'm controlling the time here.
Obeying the law.
I'm controlling. You're not obeying the law. You're plundering U.S. taxpayer dollars.
Americans are paying more for utility bills, more for health care, more for housing construction. Families aren't fooled by these lies.
It was you and President Biden who destroyed the buying power of the American people. So there is an affordability crisis, and you were front and center in it.
Joining me now from the Senate Finance Committee is Montana Senator Steve Daines. Senator, great to see you. Wow, it's almost like an embarrassment when you see that kind of situation play out in the Senate hearing room. What is your reaction to what you just saw with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent trying to get a word in?
Well, I'm thankful that Scott Bessent goes to work every day on our team. Scott's doing a tremendous job, one of the true A players there in the West Wing. And Secretary Bessent just reminds the American people why we had this inflation problem in the first place when they dumped trillions of dollars in the economy. And remember, we had that fight when Biden was president. We were pushing back. In fact, Lawrence Summers, former Democrat Secretary of Treasury, says you can't do this. It'll be inflationary. And certainly it was. And the American people now are paying the price for that. Thank God for President Trump and Republicans now who are working to put in policies that are going to reduce inflation and bring affordability back.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing to me to hear Elizabeth Warren there, but we didn't hear any of that under the Biden administration, even as inflation went to 40-year highs.
Well, they did. And again, I felt like we were Paul Revere back when Biden was president. We knew that if you had this massive cash cannons of these multi-trillion-dollar stimulus bills, it was going to be inflationary. And it was. And that's why it's so important now with President Trump's leadership that we are working hard to reduce prices in many areas here so the American people who have been harmed by inflation. It's the ultimate tax. Inflation is a tax on the American people. And thank God for President Trump and his leadership.
And, of course, one other way that he's cutting prices is what he talked about this week. He's bringing prices down on pharmaceuticals, officially launching the Trump RX website, where Americans can purchase affordable prescription drugs. At least 16 drug manufacturers already negotiating agreements with the administration to participate in the program. That seems real worthwhile.
Well, that's TrumpRx.gov. And I spent 28 years in the private sector. I worked for Procter & Gamble for 13 years. Anytime you can cut the middleman out so that businesses can sell directly to the consumer, you're cutting unneeded costs out of that supply chain. That's exactly what TrumpRx.gov does. It allows the consumer, think of it kind of like Amazon, to go online and literally purchase prescription drugs directly from the supplier.
Yeah, really exciting there. Meanwhile, high-stakes diplomacy playing out in the Middle East on Friday. The U.S. and Iran sitting down in Oman for nuclear talks after a tense week of military positioning, warnings, and rising tension across the region, including shooting down an Iranian drone approaching U.S. aircraft carrier and threats from Iranian boats against U.S. shipping vessels in the Straits of Hormuz. How concerned should we be about this, and what are your thoughts on these talks underway this weekend?
Yeah, well, we should be very concerned. Let's not forget that Iran distinctly calls us the great Satan, and they call Israel the little Satan. They seek to destroy the United States. They seek to destroy Israel. They are the #1 state-sponsored supplier of terror in the world. Of course, they prop up Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis. That is all Iran. And that's why I'm a little skeptical, frankly, of these talks. There's one thing that the Iranian regime understands, and that's power. It is truly a more peace through strength. They understand B-2 bombers when they went across Iran and took out their nuclear capabilities. I'm thankful for President Trump. He's in these talks in a position of strength because he's demonstrated it before. I'm very thankful for the U.S. military. By the way, that's something that we're doing as Republicans back in Washington, rebuilding the U.S. military after the Biden administration undercut it.
Yeah, sure. The president would like to see a $1.5 trillion defense budget in 2027. But, Senator, let's talk about the big story of the week, and that was this India trade deal, which you were intimately involved in. You're just back from India. You helped negotiate this deal. Do you believe that the Indian government will, in fact, stop buying Russian oil? And tell us about this deal and what we should expect.
Well, I think it's important to remember, why is India important? They're the fourth largest economy in the world. Number one is the United States, 2, China, 3, Germany, 4 is India. You look at the top 20 economies in the world, India is the fastest growing economy in the world. They grew at 7%, and their projections are bullish going into the future. They are the largest democracy in the world. Of course, the largest populated country now, surpassing China in the world, a massive market for U.S. producers, U.S. goods, also a great technology partner with a great workforce and building out an innovative ecosystem. So very strategically important. Congratulations to President Trump, to Ambassador Gore, and to U.S. Trade Rep Jamieson Greer for staying the course, working with India to get them weaned off of Russian oil, which, of course, is contributing to allowing Russia to fuel their war there in Ukraine.
Yeah, and a lot of companies are looking for an off-ramp to China. We know that Communist China has been putting all sorts of requirements on corporate America, and I know our companies are looking for an alternative as a manufacturing hub. Is that in the cards to see a ramp up there? Is the infrastructure in India in place to accommodate that?
Well, I think of India as a country that has a long ways to go in terms of its upside potential. It's an amazing country. The people of India share common values with America of freedom, of democracy, and they're some of the best and brightest. You look at our medical institutions across the United States, some of our very best and brightest doctors are from India. So we're thankful for what they are doing, but they are very strategically important as you're seeing more capital now moving into places like India to partner with the United States. And by the way, part of that trade deal is they're going to buy $80 billion of Boeing aircraft. I mean, so this is really good for the American economy and the investments India will make in our economy to allow us to increase and grow our economy as well.
That's very good. Let me get your take, Steve, before you go, on where we are ahead of this Department of Homeland Security funding deadline, which is coming up on Friday, February 13th. The Democrats want lots of change to Border Patrol and ICE and the whole department before they agree to funding this department. Are you expecting a shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security next Friday?
I don't think so, and I hope that cooler minds will prevail here. I don't think there'll be a deal crafted this coming week. I think we're going to have to extend another short-term CR, probably for the Department of Homeland Security. Let's step back and remember something. There's 22,000 ICE agents that go to work every day in our country. They have now taken off the streets over 150,000 violent, illegal aliens. Let's not forget Laken Riley in our country. What happened in Minneapolis was a tragedy. But as the president has said, as he's working to de-escalate and cool things off, whenever there's use of deadly force, what do? You put the member of law enforcement who had to use deadly force, tragically, on administrative leave with pay, and you have an independent third party investigate it and come to conclusions. The Democrats have wildly overreacted. They've painted themselves in a political corner because of their liberal base, and now they're trying to extract, almost extort right now, these changes in DHS that many of them are not even reasonable proposals.
Senator, it's good to have you this weekend. We so appreciate your time.
Thanks, Maria.
Thank you, Senator Steve Daines.